Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play Underrail. Oh my goodness, it's been like, I think, a week or two since I last recorded the game. I apologize to the delay in the uploads. I am having some crazy health stuff happen to me at the moment, and I am exhausted most of the time now, thanks to new medicines I'm on. This makes for poor recording because you're going to hear me yawn a whole lot, and that's pretty boring. And in addition, I don't talk as much as I used to. I'll try to make this, however, something that I only record when the medicine isn't bothering me as much. In any case, I believe at the end of the last episode, what did we do? Right, we eliminated the lunatics. And we retrieved a statue for the Tchortists. Let's go take a look at that statue really quick. I think it's a key item. Here it is. This metal figurine depicts a man who appears to be reaching out for something. Strangely, notice a tentacle rising from the base of the figurine, coiling around the man's body and his outstretched arm, ending at the hand in a straight line, as if pointing at something. What could it all mean? Alright, well, we've got what it will probably take to get into the Tchortists. They did say that they let us join if we brought them back the statue. So let's see if they're as good as their word. Yep, not talking already. Alright, so what's been going on with you, Tim, as long as you're talking about this? So talk about the health stuff. You mentioned it briefly. So I'm on new medicine for my migraines and for my anxiety now. I never had anxiety attacks ever before in my life, and so now that I'm getting them, it is frustrating to deal with. The new medicine makes me extremely sleepy, along with other other side effects. Most of them, however, I am just dealing with. But the sleepiness is just all-encompassing. I've never been so tired as I've been on this new medicine. I'm taking something called a Cymbalta, is I think what the name of it is. Oh my goodness, wow. Oh, I'm so tired all the time. And thankfully, I can now drop that topic because we are here at the Tchortists. So let's go ahead and see if we will be permitted entry. And also, I should pause really quick to show you what I'm bringing along with me. Here's all my current food and drugs. My ammo consists of fusion cells. I've got some incendiary bolts, shock bolts, and incendiary bolts. These are all MK2s now. Bringing some MK3 grenades, some flashbangs, have some crawler poison, etc., with us. Let's talk to Efriator Denzel. Yes. Is this the figurine you are looking for? Yes! That is a figurine, alright. Where did you find it? In the big shopping mall west of here. You were right all along. The lunatics were the ones responsible for its theft. What's the matter, Denzel? Well, I didn't really expect that someone... I didn't think someone like you would actually be able to retrieve the figurine. Even just locate it, let alone retrieve it from the clutches of whoever stole it. Whatever. I got the figurine as you asked. Now let me in. I want to join the Institute of Tchort. A deal is a deal. Hand me the figurine, and then I'll go inside and discuss your request with my superiors. It stays with me until you come back. You go talk to your superiors first. Then you'll see the figurine again. The Rastafors around you turn towards you, and you feel the atmosphere beginning to heat up again. Denzel, surprisingly, cools it back down with a single hand gesture to his subordinates. I suppose that is acceptable. But don't leave the courtyard. I'll return soon. Just as he goes to leave, he turns back to you again. Wait a moment. I never caught your name. Garrett. Garrett. Alright, Garrett. Wait in front of the Institute. Here. I'll be back as soon as I talk to someone. Just be patient. Tchort guide you. You wait, and you wait. And as more time passes, you begin to wonder if Ephraiator Danzel is actually going to come back. After all, he couldn't wait to get rid of you the first time you talked. But then you remember that strange metal figurine is still in your hands, the one the Tchortists want so badly. You begin thinking about this strange piece of metal, and what awaits you ahead. However, your thoughts are soon interrupted by footsteps following a hurried rhythm you have already heard before. It is Ephraiator Danzel. Garrett, I've talked to the mediant and explained the situation to him. Therefore, the official word is as follows. You will be allowed to enter the Institute building, be interviewed, and if deemed fit, you will be offered Institute of Tchort membership. All that in exchange for the figurine you possess. Speaking of which, I would like to take it now. Then I'll lead you inside. Can you finally tell me what the deal is with this figurine? Why it's so important to you? It's a part of a larger collection, which is being assembled in celebration of the Institute of Tchort's 100th anniversary. Indeed, Foundry was commissioned to create this beautiful work of art and send it to us. After some unfortunate delays, it was due to finally arrive. But the carriage of the figurine were intercepted. I was tasked to mobilize troops and retrieve it, and that is exactly what I did, with your help. Soon it will be back in Aiden's hands, as it should be. Happy? Now if you let me have the figurine, I'd be glad to show you to the interview room. Alright, here's the little metal man. Ephraiator Danzel slowly picks up the figurine and scrutinizes it. Despite the fact that his face is covered with the mask, you are certain that a pleased grin lurks beneath it. His admiration doesn't last for long, though. He looks at you and signals for you to follow him. Follow me. Get inside. The Praepostor will be with you shortly. The room you're in made you claustrophobic and uneasy from the start. Not only by the fact that the room is indeed small, but by how small your pool of options becomes should something unwelcome occur. You have prepared yourself for the worst, knowing that you will be in an unfamiliar place where anything is possible that can go awry. Well, seeing this beautiful woman dressed in a black robe which is almost inappropriately flows over her feminine features, accenting them even though for the blind to see was most certainly not what you were expecting. Oh, so she's wearing a very, I guess, tight-fitting black robe. The deathly robe envelops her arresting face like a black oil being spilled over a shiny lump of gold. Her striking Aveline-colored eyes immediately meet yours. Her smooth face, free of imperfections, seems like it has been crafted out of marble by several of the finest artists in existence working together. Her golden hair, mostly concealed by the sinister hood, still manages to gently flow out of it and present its luxuriance. Her voice is much akin to her appearance. It too has a distinct, seductive charm. It resonates with appeal and warmth, and while being mostly level, it never becomes monotone nor boring, and there is no way Tim will be able to mimic this during this Let's Play. Tchort is evolution. I would like to welcome you to the Institute of Tchort, postulant. My name is Amelia, and I am the Institute's Praepostor. Your name is Garrett, if I'm not mistaken. That is correct. It's a pleasure to meet you, Praepostor. She gives you a small smile. The pleasure is mutual, Garrett. Despite the current situation, you have somehow managed to find yourself before me. The Ephraiator was very convincing when he spoke to the rest of us about your deeds. Know that we are making an exception for you, just for you. For I'm sure the Ephraiator told you our institution is not accepting new members. Now, I'd like to ask you several preliminary questions, general in nature, before we advance this interview. So, you are interested in joining the Institute of Tchort and becoming a Tchortist. Is that correct? That is correct, Praise Pastor. I would be delighted to join your organization if you'd be willing to accept me. Tell me something of yourself, Garrett. Where are you from? This is an interesting question for us to answer. We could say Southgate Station or Core City, neither of which are technically a lie. We don't hail from either of those originally, though, so the last entry could also make sense. I think we'll say Southgate Station. I'm from Southgate Station. Can you tell me what guides you through your life? What motivates you? Try to give me a concise answer. Let's look at all these answers. I already know which one I want to pick. So, it's not knowledge, not Garrett. Although, I like exploring and knowing and learning how things work. And that's how I played one of my characters through this game. That's not Garrett. I tend to play like number 2 as well. I tend to do whatever I need to get done for the current quest I'm on and explore areas I currently find myself in. But I do have a long-distance goal. I'm not dedicating my life to protecting all that's good and beautiful. I don't really see number 4 working because I've been nice as well. 5 tends to be correct. But I think 6 is the most accurate portrayal of Garrett and the way I am playing him. Loot is life. Life is loot. Her left eyebrow raises in reaction to your reply. Care to elaborate? Well... I believe it's self-explanatory. Perhaps so. In any case, you feel that, with those words in mind, joining the Institute of Tchort is the right decision. I sincerely hope so. You hope so? And how much exactly do you know about the Institute of Tchort and the general ideology of Tchortism? I had attended one of Minister Percival's lectures in Core City and was fascinated by what I had heard during it. That was one of the main reasons I decided to come here. Very good, Garrett. Minister Percival is one of our finest propagators, and I'm sure his lecture was very insightful. Still, allow me to elaborate our ideology, just to make sure you are familiar with, at least for now, its main principles. Afterwards, you will have to make one final choice of joining our institution or not, if you are still willing. The Institute of Tchort is an institution dedicated to the study and celebration of Tchort, a primordial being that was discovered in deep caverns nearly 100 years ago by Eden, the founder of this institution, as well as Tchortism. What he had discovered then and there was magnificent. The creature had been undergoing a unique cycle of regeneration. It was completely formless, changing and adapting to the current environment. Since Eden was, and still is, the only person that can communicate with Tchort, he was able to study it and uncover what secrets it holds within its magnificent genome. He learned that Tchort holds the key to evolving the human race to new heights. One day, perhaps, through directed evolution, as Eden originally named it, humankind will hopefully find a way to adapt to the life on the surface and escape this gloomy underworld. Principally, Tchort represents 2 things: the physical being and the knowledge it holds. Consequently, Tchortism, being guided by Tchort, aims to direct human evolution with its help. In essence, that is who Tchortists are, and what we stand for. Which brings us to the next question. Tell me, Garrett, do you still stand by your previous decision? Do you still wish to become a member of the Institute of Tchort? If your answer is positive, then we can finally start with the second phase of the interview. I haven't changed my mind. We can proceed. Very good, she smiles. I'm pleased to hear that, even though that is the answer I expected from you. Now, allow me to explain what happens next. I'm going to be asking you a set of questions, simple questions that require no hard thinking, only honesty. You will answer these questions and any sub-questions that might arise during the process. Don't worry, this won't take long. Let us begin with the first question. She takes a single piece of paper containing the questions, clears her throat, and begins. Have you been sent here knowingly to injure Tchortism? Now, I'm going to interrupt for a few seconds. There are several ways in which you can fail this interview. If you don't want spoilers, skip ahead maybe like 5-6 minutes or so in the video. I'll try to remember to put a link down below in the video description to where I'm done with the interview, because I'm going to talk about spoilers really quick. I decided when I first did this part, and jump ahead now, by the way, if you're going to jump ahead. I decided that I was going to try different answers to see what the reactions were going to be from Praepositor Emilia. You can totally say number 2. She'll be shocked, and then you get to fight the entire cult. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, but I did not prepare for this eventuality with what I brought with me. It's something I was torn whether or not I wanted to play Garrett as a cocksure. Yeah, I'm here to destroy your cult. In that case, I would have brought my MK3 bolts. I would have had to outfit ourselves very, very well, because the sequence to get us into the deep caverns happens the moment that we begin the conflict with the Tchortists through this interview. Alternatively, we can try to pass the interview and sneak our way into this cult, in which case the final sequence to bring us to the deep caverns won't start until we actually become a higher ranked member of the cult, or the Tchortism, depending upon if you view this as a cult or not. So I plan to use Garrett in a way in which we infiltrate this. Maybe later on, I will show you, I'll try to get through it in combat instead, maybe after we beat the game, just to show you the option and how difficult it will be to do. Because I remember I was able to secure this entrance chamber, but getting further into the cult, it is very tough. It's very tough. Really rewarding if you can do it, but oh man, is it difficult. Alright, so, with all that said, if you do enter number 2, you're going to be in combat very, very quickly. So, we'll say no to this. No, of course not. She looks at you for a bit longer than usual, after which she writes something on the paper. Next question. How do you feel about Tchortism? Now, going forward, it's going to be... Look at answer number 3. It's, I always got the impression... Well, actually, hold on. I'll save the rest until we're done. Save the rest until we're done. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's the path I want to take. Very good. Next question. Do you think there's anything wrong with having your privacy invaded? Depends on the situation. If it's for the greater good, then no. I don't think it's wrong. Otherwise, I'm not too keen on the concept. Interesting. Next question. Have you ever been a drug addict? I don't even go to answer nature's call without bringing some chemicals with me, just in case I need it. Next question. Have you ever killed anyone? Only when it was necessary. Next question. Are you upset by this questioning? No, why would I be? Huh. Next question. Do you hope you won't be found out? What do you mean by that? Just answer the question you were asked. I have nothing to hide. That's my answer. She crosses her arms and observes you, occasionally moving her head from left to right and vice versa. Before you get a chance to break the silence, she uncrosses her hands and asks the next questions. Next question. Have you ever smothered a baby? What? No! What kind of sick person would do something like that? You'd be surprised what different breeds of people come here. Next question. Have you ever eaten human flesh? No. Next question. Would you be willing to sacrifice the lives of several innocent people to save one dear to you? This is very tricky. No. I see. Next question. Have you ever felt that there was another creature in your body? No. Next question. Did you ever hurt yourself? Only if my grenades land too close. Otherwise, no. A barely visible quirk appears at the corner of her mouth, threatening to manifest itself into a real, honest smile. Sadly, it lasts but a fraction of a second. Last question. Have you ever been a spy for anybody? No. Praepostor Amelia looks at the paper, inspecting all the notes she took during the interview. Afterwards, she puts away the piece of paper and gives you the familiar too long for comfort stare. Luckily, it ends with a pleasant smile. Very good, Garrett. Very good. Those were all the questions I had for you. Now, I'd just like to ask you to give me a sample of your blood and wait patiently for me to return. What for? It is something all novicettes must undergo, considered a kind of initiation. There are two primary reasons for this. First, it's a tradition that has a symbolic meaning. You give but a small part of yourself to Tchort, and in turn, Tchort will give you the means to adapt and evolve to a whole new height. Second, we test the blood for all postulants, of all postulants for health-related reasons. We don't need any surprises. The process is simple and quick. You will only feel a little sting. Okay, I have no objections to that. Praepostor Amelia pulls out a strange device. It looks like a large black ornamented syringe with a see-through tube. It has a tiny metal tentacles climbing towards the needle, twisting around the device. She inserts the needle into your flesh. Externally, you feel but a little sting. Internally, you feel your heart pounding faster and faster. Fortunately, the procedure is over quickly. She pulls out the needle with a smile, and the syringe is now full of your blood. She places a gauze in the room before stepping away. That is all I need. Please wait for me while I return, Garrett. It won't take too long. Congratulations, postulant, or should I say, novitet. You have been selected. Therefore, you have been granted membership to the Institute of Tchort. I suspect you are tired. It was a long and challenging day for you, I am sure. So I will give you a very brief rundown of what awaits you within the Institute. As of now, you are a I don't know how to pronounce this. Novitiate? Oh, that sounded wrong. I want to say like initiate, but with like I can't pronounce it. Initiate, novitiate. I'll call it a novice. As of now, you are a novice, a new member of the Institute of Tchort, whose first task is to familiarize himself with Tchortism, obtain necessary knowledge, and find his place within the institution. We offer many means to do so, but we will get to that later. The next thing I must tell you is about the three main divisions of the Institute of Tchort: preservation, investigation, and propagation. Each of these 3 divisions has a specific purpose. Preservation exists to protect or preserve Tchort, Iden, the Institute, and all of its members, and prides itself with its highly trained and well-equipped individuals. Investigation, on the other hand, concerns itself with obtaining, organizing, and applying knowledge, studying Tchort and the world around us with the ultimate goal of driving, directing human evolution towards a better future. Finally, propagation exists to educate or propagate said knowledge both within the Institute of Tchort as well as beyond. I hope you're following me so far, Garrett. Novices are free to select what suits them best. After they have studied enough and made up their mind, they can select anything they'd like to perform their part within the Institute of Tchort. Currently, since propagation is undergoing an internal restructuring phase, becoming an acolyte at this stage is highly improbable. So investigation or preservation are the divisions I would direct you to for the time being. Of course, if you are really patient and willing, propagation too will open its doors to you at some point. A few more principal things before I finally let you go up and rest. As a member, you are granted your own bed in the Institute's sleeping quarters, and a personal locker for your belongings. Also, your medallion and your robe have been already placed within it. Now you can find the quarters by going down to the right to the set of stairs just after entering the main hall. Opposite that, left from the entrance, is the refectory. I think you might be more familiar with the term canteen. The Institute Library, Iden's library, is at the second floor to the left, and is probably the most important place for all novices. That is where you can read about our history, scientific works, and most importantly, read the original report. That sounds really important. It describes Iden's first encounter with Tchort, his thoughts and impressions, and documents the beginning of his research. It is an essential read for every Tchortist. Again, Iden's library should be one of your first stops. While we are on the subject of the library, I must add this. The old destroyed section of the West Wing has recently been reopened by preservation forces. A Rasifor expedition was dispatched there. It is extremely dangerous, and while it's guarded by Rasifors, I must still warn you to avoid it until after it has been sealed again. Is that everything I should know? Oh, one more thing before we're done. Official greetings and manner of address. When first starting a conversation with any members of the Institute of Tchort, it is a custom for the first speaker to say, "Tchort is evolution," to which the other party replies, "Evolution is Tchort." The meaning of the greeting is clear, I hope. Commonly, you may refer to the Tchortist as brother or sister based on their gender, but if they hold a higher title, a certain notability, then you should address them appropriately. This is already too much information for you. In time, you will learn everything. You're free to go and get some rest, brother. If you have more questions, ask now, or find me in my office at the top level. I would be glad to answer all your questions you may have about the Institute of Tchort. That is all I needed to know for now. Well then, welcome to the Institute of Tchort, brother, and Tchort guide you. The very first time I did that interview, I made it to the last question, and I answered it the other way. If you let on that you worked for the oligarchs as a spy, like at all, if you work for them, you're not getting in. You will be immediately apprehended, and that's going to be the end of you. Or at the very least, you're going to have to try to fight your way out of this place. As another one, when the very first time that she had said, "Do you think you would not be found out?" I totally was like, "Well, looks like the game's up," and attacked her. And then I fought my way through as much of the institute as I possibly could before I finally fell. It was awesome, and I really wanted to do that again here. But I think it will be more fun, and I think it will give us a chance to do more questing and see a little bit more of the game and understand this Institute of Tchort if we actually, instead of fight, if we became a member of it with Garrett instead of actually running through this place murdering everybody. So, with all that said, if you skipped ahead to this part, welcome back. We passed the test. We are now a novice for the Institute of Tchort, and our first job is to acquaint ourselves with Tchortism. We were told where the refectory is, the place we can go and eat. We were told where our room is located, and that one of the first things we should do is go to the library and read the original report where Aiden met Tchort, and he documented his original findings. We also were told that the West Wing is off limits, currently guarded by Rassifors, and for some reason. The Rassifor turns to you and silently watches you for a few moments as if expecting you to say something first. Tchort is evolution, brother. Evolution is Tchort, brother. He raises his head and answers with a slow, unhurried voice. I am Rassifor Pyram, and I am in charge of monitoring and security. What can I do for you? I would like to ask you several questions about Tchortism. I'm sorry, but I am busy at the moment. My recommendation would be to either visit Aiden's library or talk to someone from Propagation. Praepostor Amelia, for instance. Of course, reading the original report should be your priority, if you haven't done that already. Anything else? Do fights or shootouts ever occur between people right outside the main gate? Fights? Rarely. Shootings? Never. Sometimes a brawl would break out, but mostly between inbreds who aren't worthy for our attention in the first place and had just arrived to cause trouble. Still, when these things do occur, we usually react quickly and deal with the situation. Excluding those, incidents are rare in the Institute courtyard. Visitors feel safe here, and that's how we intend them to. Are you in charge of opening the main gate? Yes, that is correct. All arrivals and departures are carefully monitored from this very room. And if you, for instance, wish to leave the building, you'd have to use the intercom there and state the reason for your movement. Gotcha. So, I have nothing else to ask you, brother. Tchort guide you. Tchort guide you, brother. We cannot leave the Institute of Tchort willy-nilly. We need a reason to leave the Institute. Oh, I should have picked his pocket. We'll do that later. But we'll totally pick everyone else's pockets. When I had run through this area and was killing people... By the way, be careful, Tim. You don't want to start a battle in here. When I first went through this area killing people, imagine my surprise when I couldn't leave the Institute. Because there's no way to open... there's no computer system here to open the gate. You can't come out this way. You'll have to find a different way to leave if you actually start a fight in this place. Tchort is evolution. Seek Mediant Samuel. He wishes to speak with you. I know a little bit about cults, having read up about cults for quite some time. I had a friend who joined a cult. It's kind of hard to describe it. It wasn't maybe it wasn't a cult as bad as some of the ones that we might have. I can't think of any ones off the top of my head, but it was a multi-level marketing thing, and it was very cultish. And it was very frightening for me to see the changes that he was in. And seeing this institute, it screams cult to me. The idea that there's this very tight, close-knit group that doesn't let outsiders in, that they call the outsiders like they're inbreds, basically they're derogatory to everyone who's not one of themselves. They use their own language. They have their own names for things. It's very cult-like. The person who made this group in this game, they did a fantastic job when it comes to certain cultish tendencies and tenets. It's really well done. Like, look at the names of these people. Tchortists, Sculptor. I don't even know what that means. Thank you for returning the Reaching Man, brother. You're welcome. You know what else you can thank me with? You can thank me by let me see, make sure that you don't have anything hazardous on you. We'll take an MQ2 lockpick from you. Join preservation if you have the guts. Tchort's evolution, brother. Tchort also is curious as to what you have inside your pockets. 17 credits. We have superior genetics. Proven. That's their... proven is their way of saying truth. Or, dominating, I suppose. I once had an acolyte who hadn't read the original report. I was simply shocked. We had to go upstairs and to the left, I believe, to reach the library. Ooh, hello. Ah, not a good weapon. I don't really need another trap. I'll take her coins. We can and we must, said Aiden. Indeed, sister. Indeed, we can and we must search your pockets for things. The West Wing has been opened a few days ago, but do not go there. Thank you, Tchortists. I will avoid the place, at the moment at least. Tchort's evolution. Evolution is Tchort. Oh, look at that awesome helmet this girl's got, with tentacles coming out the sides. That is amazing looking. All right, let's go first and read the original report. It goes up here and then to the left. Four bottles in a vase. I think I'll actually pick everyone's pocket off screen. I don't think you guys need... Well, then again, I don't know if you guys care very much. If I do find something important, I guess I can tell you guys. Alright, this I believe is a library. Yes, and that's where the west... I think that's the West Wing over there, which is shut to us. Join preservation if you have the guts. I don't need the guts. Right now I need what's in your pockets. 19 coins. I'm surprised we're allowed to carry our weapon openly. I would have thought that the Tchortists would also have the same restriction on me that the Protectorate did when I went into their embassy ages ago. Shh, not now. That's a decent electric knife. We'll just take the coins, though. And this is a terminal that we'll be able to use. So we're probably not allowed to bother too many people here. We'll just pick their pockets, talk to Nana, and then read the computer entries. And then we'll probably call the session. By the way, the music to this is amazing. I love it. It's creepy in a way. It's and yet there's some sort of this, like, there's this anticipation of something with this soundtrack. Yeah, they did a fantastic job on this. By far, this is one of my favorite sections. And I've only done this once before as well, everyone. Only once, so a heads up that I'm going to be a little rusty with things from this point on. Yep, loot is life, loot is love. I'm sorry, loot is life, life is loot. The woman, upon noticing you approach, puts her hand on her chest and salutes you. Her voice is quiet, almost a whisper, yet it sounds perfectly clear and understandable thanks to the almost unreal silence within the library. Tchort is evolution. Welcome to Aiden's library, brother. I am Curator Nana. Can I help you with anything? What can you tell me about Aiden's library? Aiden's library is the major repository of information for the Institute of Tchort. The library's database offers over 6 million pages of textual content ranging from both contemporary and historical works in different scientific fields. as well as the preserved works of literary arts, journals, documents, and other. Most of it is in digital form, accessible to all members at any time, but there is also a significant number of physical copies, which due to their rarity as well as their fragility of the medium, require special permissions. It goes without saying that Aiden's library contains the single most important, most monumental document in the history of Tchortism, the original report, written by none other than Aiden himself. Being a novice, you are advised to start with the original report before moving on to more current Tchort-related works. And what exactly is that report? The original report was written 100 years ago, when Aiden first discovered Tchort in the dark depths of the deep caverns. This short text describes the event itself, Aiden's original discoveries and thoughts. Essentially, it narrates the genesis of Tchortism. If you haven't read it, brother, do so as soon as possible. And I'm completely honest here, have read it an uncountable amount of times, and I am most certainly not the only one to have done so. Can you tell me something about the library's history? I can give you some brief information, yes. This room we are currently in was a library from the very day the building was constructed. While it was much smaller, I should say humbler in regards to the available information, it was nonetheless just as integral to the Institute of Tchort as it is today, embracing all those who seek knowledge with wide open arms. Sadly, the Great Earthquake turned it, as well as the whole West Wing, into rubble back in the year 24. Most physical copies the library contained were destroyed, with only a few salvaged copies retrieved from the rubble. What a waste. Of course, Aiden knew that the library had to be restored to its previous glory, so according to his will, the library was rebuilt within a relatively short period of time. Institute members named the library in his honor, and it remains so until this day. I hope that is the answer you sought. Was there anything else you wished to ask me? No. Tchort guide you, Nana. And you too, brother. Read well. Welcome to Aiden's library, brother. Today's quote: "One day, we shall walk the surface and rule it." Aiden. Let us read the original report. By Aiden Travers, or Aiden Travers. I guess he changed his name after the evolution. I was the only one still alive from the expedition. As I found myself before this gigantic metal gate which stood closed and seemingly impenetrable, I began to ponder the most recent events, sure that these moments were to be my last. For the whole expedition was doomed from the start. It had been many years since the hollow earth was left to rust in the forbidding bowels of deep caverns. Biocorp had only begun to recuperate from the damage it suffered during the split when technocrats called me to their office. They explained to me that they wished to unearth, pardon the expression, several abandoned but not forgotten projects from Hollow Earth, and salvage that which can be salvaged from the once impressive research complex. Biocorp desired this expedition in hopes of at least slowing down its decline, which started years ago and wasn't about to stop. Internal struggles only worsened the situation. Of course, due to the severity of the task, it could not be entrusted to just anyone. A senior scientist of my qualifications and experience was to lead the expedition, since only someone like that could be allowed to lay eyes on some of the most sensitive information Biocorp ever possessed. I accepted. I was truly excited to be going into deep caverns, and despite being familiar with how hostile the environment was, I cared very little for that fact. On the contrary, I viewed it as a new opportunity, a new high point in my career, and entrusted our survival into the hands of Captain Sagan's men without overthinking it. Few of my scientist colleagues were also to follow me on this mission, and once all parties were ready, we made our descent. Into death, at least for most of us. Environment had changed significantly between the Hollow Earth incident and the moment of our arrival, even more than we expected. Environmental hazards, natural predators in the form of horrid and surprisingly alien creatures, as well as other unexplained phenomena were quick to decimate us. Bullets can stop beasts, but for how long? Hazard suits can save us from toxic fumes and corrosive liquids, but for how long? Reaching the main complex soon proved to be mission impossible. The immediate way to the east was blocked by an impenetrable cave-in, so we had to circumvent it by going to the north. After taking the first few steps toward our goal, we already found ourselves under siege by death itself, and it sated its hunger quickly, luckily before it got to me. I was the only one still alive from my expedition. We fled north and found refuge by one of the large gates. Rust, mold, and demise were in the oxygen-devoid air, as well as some strange pulsating sensation which violently pressed on my skull. Poor Captain, the only one still with me, was lying in a corner was slowly fading away, with last bits of life leaving his mangled body, surrendering it to decay. He performed his duty to his very last breath. I was ready for the same fate. But then the large gates opened. Light illuminated the area, and strange pain from my head was instantly gone. While the lights weren't as bright as the ones in university, it was much better than the dwindling glow of my last flare. I stepped through the gate and faced something I wasn't prepared for. I faced it. It was giant. It was alien. It was formless. Strange creature was before me, and I had no clue of its origin or intentions, or really anything. All I could see was its pure flesh with tentacles sprouting from it in all their glory. The sensation in my head returned, but this time it wasn't trying to kick down the door to my mind. Instead, it gently knocked, and I answered politely. Tchort was the only thing I could interpret during this peculiar exchange of thoughts, for everything else can simply be described as just some strange feeling in my head. During my 3-week stay, I was allowed by Tchort to study it. Leftover equipment I was able to find in these old labs, I combined with some of my own utilities, I was able to set up an improvised laboratory, which was most excellent. Regarding nourishment, I still had my own personal supplies, up to a point in time. Afterwards, I had to rely on natural sources. This was what I had learned during my stay before I finally left Tchort and returned back certain that what I had found was an extraordinary discovery of unimaginable importance. Tchort can be defined as a large, multicellular organism of unknown age, but judging from its genetic makeup, it is primordial. While it shares a lot of common sequences with every living being ranging from the first single-cell organisms up to modern mammals, it is not directly related to us in any way. We do not have a clear common ancestor. How is that possible? Well, I'm about to explain. The creature can enter a state of unique type of regeneration cycles in which it loses any recognizable form and undergoes genetic self-repair. It puzzled me how and why it does so, but I had answers faster than I thought I would. Tchort has a remarkably similar cell and DNA structure to us. The number of chromosomes and genes is indeed different, but a lot of recognizable sequences can be found there. The part of its genome that was non-coding was larger than in humans, and by studying it I have learned the answer to those two questions I had asked myself previously. Whenever the creature begins suffering from any form of mutations, chromosomal deterioration, or even cancer, it can enter the aforementioned state of regeneration. It might do so in case when the environment changes drastically and new traits are necessary to survive. I was even able to pinpoint the gene responsible for this. Now, what happens when the creature begins regenerating is this. Its non-coding part of the genome, which can be in Tchort's case considered something of a genetic backup, begins coding for proteins, which in turn change and rebuild the whole chromosome, even up to the telomerase. How it knows what sort of adaptation it needs to survive in the new environment is not yet clear, nor how it is able to recombine or even recreate these sequences. But even this was a magnificent find, and raised another question. Can this be applied to humans or other living creatures as well? Due to the similarity of the DNA structure, the answer might as well be yes, and with that, many other questions sprang to my mind. Could we too use what we learned from Tchort and adapt ourselves at will? Could we live infinitely? Would we be able to control our own evolution and strive towards a goal unimaginable before? Could we finally return to the surface world? I wanted answers, and for that I was going to need time and support. I had given Tchort the final look before I left, hoping that it wasn't going to be really the last time. It became clear in my mind what I must do. My return to university as a lone survivor turned out to be quite interesting, and can best be described as an end to one thing, and the beginning of another. End of the original report. The important dates. Oh, there's going to be quite a few of these. Year 1, Item discovered Tchort, formation of the Institute. Year 5, Biocorp Armed Forces renamed to Preservation, Education and Science merged into Investigation. Year 8, Great East Wing Fire. Year 9, Principal Investigator Monsignor Giacomo, Institute of Tchort's first Monsignor, dies from a sudden cardiac arrest. Year 21, Principal Investigator Edvik attempts a coup. Rassifor Monsignor Torin dies protecting Aiden. Year 24, the Great Earthquake demolishes the Institute Library, as well as a large part of the West Wing and Main Hall. Damage is repaired within the same year. Year 39, Principal Investigator Monsignor Anthea becomes Episcopos. Investigation prosperity period starts. Year 42, a series of major conflicts with the Faceless, culminating in the Battle of Nucleus, won by Halmos, Monsignor Marcival's preservation forces. Last major conflict with the Faceless. Year 58, prosperity period for investigation ends with death of Episcopos Anthea. Year 67, the great mourning over the loss of West Wing expedition, which perished due to unknown causes. Investigator Monsignor Peter dies. Year 69, Investigator Herstiofor dies from cancer. Year 70, Investigator Minty's death. Year 77, formation of Propagation Division from Education Department of Investigation and several other smaller departments. Year 78, Harmos Monsignor dies of old age. Year 81, Investigator Lorna dies 2 days after publishing her 78th paper. Year 85, Biocorp's final dissolution and Institute Courtyard's riots. Year 90, Monsignor Braddock, Institute Historian, dies. Year 92, medication export for core cities started. Year 96, success of Investigator Gustav's Recombient project revealed at the annual investigation symposium. First Recombient in action. Year 98, Investigator Gustav choked to death. Wow. Year 99, neuropacification project revealed at the annual investigation symposium. Tchort guide you, brother. Alright, everyone. Let's go and find our room, but then we'll call it quits there, and we'll pick back up. There's going to be quite a bit more talking that we'll be doing, by the way. In fact, you should probably anticipate the entire next video, and maybe even the one after that, being just more conversation. There will be very little combat in the next few videos, because we have a bunch of people to talk to, and more of the Institute to explore. I think this is where our room was located, up in this direction. Oh, looks like they have a showers, place for people to relax. And I believe this will be our room. Alright, everyone, I'm going to stop here. Thank you guys for watching. Let's see, do we have a locker? Yep, in fact, here even is our locker. We have our robe and an Eye of Tchort, if you wish to take it. Of course, we already have an Eye of Tchort. So, I guess I'll do some quick inventory management things, everyone. And then, well, actually, we're going to stop here. So, thank you guys for watching. And I will see everyone in the next one. Take care, everyone.